Good evening.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. How are you?
All well, thank you very much. And how about you?
Everything is going great. Thank you for asking me.
Lovely, good to know that. So everything is going good. So when are your work timings? When do you devote time towards work? You are into writing, content writing, right?
Yes, yes. I start working at 11 o'clock, and 11 to 1 I work.
Hmm.
And in the evening time, I usually start at 4. 4
Hmm.
to 6 is my work time.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. So you work according to your convenience, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
helps you to manage household, family, and yeah, that's nice.
Yes.
Are there times when you have very tight deadlines and you have to deliver something in a rush?
Then I do it at night.
Huh.
Night is all mine.
Yes, and there are no distractions, right, at night.
Hmm. Yes, yes.
That's the more
I
peaceful
usually
time.
it's
Hmm.
every day I sit at night for at least 2 hours. Like
Oh,
from 11 to 1, I usually sit.
11 to 1, you're talking about night time, the 11 p.m. to
Yes,
1 a.m.
night.
Oh,
Morning
huh.
also, and at night too, I sit at 11 to 1 because that is the time when I am able to work more productively. That is the time,
Absolutely.
like when there is no distraction, everyone is sleeping, so I can
Hmm.
work. I can
Complete
concentrate
focus.
at
Yeah,
that time.
complete focus. Yeah. And do
Yes.
you tend to get more work done during that time compared to daytime?
Sometimes it depends on how tired I am. Sometimes,
Uh,
when I am working, I am doing something. At the same time, I feel sleepy, and during those days, it's not very productive for me.
hmm.
But otherwise, I am able to do it at night.
Okay, okay.
And
Got it.
if I have to read something, then also I prefer to read at night.
Yeah, even I do that. My reading is at night after I'm done with everything, dinner, household chores. It's all shut down, and then just before bedtime, I devote time towards reading. Yeah,
So, do you read novels, or what kind of books or
novels. Yeah.
genre you like?
My favorite genre would be suspense thrillers. I think
Okay.
currently I'm reading this. Can you
Okay.
see?
What's the name? Club you to death.
Huh, so it's a very dangerous title. So it's a
Okay.
murder mystery about in a club, health club. There's a murder which has happened, and there's a detective who's come to resolve or solve the mystery. So I've just started. So I like those kind of books, but I nowadays my preferences it's a mix. Sometimes I like to read spiritual books. Sometimes I like to read murder mysteries. Sometimes I enjoy philosophical books. So I think my taste and my liking is evolving over as I'm aging probably. But during my younger days, it was more of mystery novels and
Hmm.
those kind of books. But nowadays, I explore everything.
Hmm. Recently, I had read a few books. Those were self-help kind of books.
Hmm.
So I got bored reading those books, and I am on the lookout of some mystery novels, some interesting books that should be page turner. So
Hmm.
can you suggest me a couple of books that I can buy and enjoy reading them, and and I can also improve my vocabulary by reading those books.
So, if you're interested in mystery, are you also interested in mystery kind of novels?
Yes, I want to read some interesting stuff because I have read 3 to 4 self-help books. Now I got
Yeah,
bored. So I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to read
Self
something
help.
interesting.
Yeah, self help can get a little bit heavy because it's too much of knowledge and you have to focus a lot on
Hmm.
understanding and implementing and all that. So, if you
Yes.
like fiction and if you like stories, but it's quite a huge book. I don't know if you would like to start with a really heavy, huge book because that could put you off that, oh my god, it's such a huge book. When will I read and finish it? That also can happen. So, start with short stories,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
easier. So there are
Hmm.
R.K. Narayan stories, Sudha Murthy books. Then
Sudha
there is
Murty's
another.
book I have. I already have Sudha Murty's book, Wise and Otherwise.
There are lots of books. She's written a lot of books, short stories. So you
Hmm.
can try R.K. Narayan stories. You can try Preeti Shinoy is another Indian author.
Hmm.
You'll probably enjoy. It's not a very heavy and huge book. So start with those kind of books, shorter
Hmm.
short stories, and easier to go through. It's not like a burden. It should not feel heavy on your head and like a burden. It should be an easy read. So you can go through. Chetan Bhagat is one author,
Yeah.
Indian author. Easy.
Hmm.
It's an easy read. So you can start with that and slowly probably move on to a little bit heavier kind of books. Because starting with a
Uh,
heavy.
I have read Chetan Bhagat's Revolution 2020.
Okay, there are lots of
That book
other
I
books
have
here.
read.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So you can try. And if you are there is another author. Have you heard of Amish Tripathi?
I have heard his name, but I've never tried his books.
So he writes about mythology. He combines Hindu Indian mythology with fantasy. So there is this trilogy about Shiva and Nagas. So some people really enjoy those kind of books, but again, those are really
Yeah.
heavy books with huge, yeah. So start with short stories and simple books which you'll enjoy, and then as you develop your reading habit, you start enjoying, then move to a little bit heavier kind of authors and maybe international authors, because their style is different, the kind of words they use is different. So slowly gradually you can move on to the next level, right?
Yeah.
So are you reading anything currently? No.
Yeah, I have started reading Sudha Murthy's book, Wise and Otherwise. It is again a
Hmm.
collection of stories.
Short stories, yeah.
Yeah, so I am reading that book. Sudha Murthy's books are the language she uses in her book is very simple. We are able to understand them very easily, and at the
Correct.
same time, we get to learn some words that we can
Yes,
use in conversational English. Very simple
absolutely.
words that we can use.
Yeah, so even Chetan Bhagat uses very simple, normal English. Preeti Shenoy, whom I mentioned, she also is an Indian author. Very easy, simple, understandable, and from a woman's perspective, she writes from a woman's perspective. Most of her books are from that perspective, so maybe you will relate and enjoy. I have read a couple of her books that was long ago. So these are some authors which I remember offhand, right? So you can start with them. And what about, okay, since we are talking about language, English, what about listening? Do you watch English movies?
I'm not very much into watching movies. Since when I started learning English, I started only reading. I started from reading.
Okay,
I have read many books until now, but whenever I start listening to some content, at the same time I start doing something else and I get distracted. So that is why I am not able to focus on listening, and
yes,
that is the reason I gave up on it.
okay, okay. But for mastering a language, of course, reading is important. But since we are talking here about spoken English, since you're working on speaking and your fluency, listening also plays a big role in understanding and improving your language. So
Hmm.
maybe try and listen. Dedicate 15-20 minutes. I'm not saying 1 hour, 2 hours of listening. Sometimes our attention span is not, you know we
Hmm.
can't sit and listen for 1 hour. It
Yes.
happens. So maybe
Yes.
shorter, smaller podcasts. BBC has a lot of short, small podcasts, I think 6 minute English or something. So they
Hmm.
talk about one topic, it's just 6 or 10 minutes, and there will be some vocabulary related to that topic, so that
Hmm.
will help you probably. But watching movies, why we recommend watching movies is that it is conversational English, right?
Yes.
You are trying to improve your conversational and spoken English. So while you're watching a movie, there are dialogues between people. So you pick up, way of speaking, some words which we can use in our day-to-day context. So that is why we recommend and we suggest that okay, maybe watch movies and podcasts. So it helps with conversations. A lot of phrases we pick up from movies. That is why.
Yeah,
And
I do sometimes. It's not that I don't do it at all. I do sometimes but I mean to say that I am not consistent in listening.
consistent.
I
Yeah.
am consistent in my reading practices and I am consistent in my speaking practices. I do
Okay.
them every single day I do. But
Very good.
when it comes to listening, I'm not very consistent in.
Hmm. So how do you work on your vocabulary? What are the things you do to improve your vocabulary?
Whenever I see a word in a book, for example, I am reading a book, I find a few words and I just note them down, and the next day again I revise them, I make sentences using them. So these are all the things that I do. But
Okay.
it's not always necessary that we whatever words we have learned, like whatever words I have learned yesterday, it's not necessary that I will be using them today itself.
Yes, happens because the context does not come. You don't have that
Yes.
context to use
Hmm.
that word. It's
Hmm.
not necessary, right? So if
Yeah.
yeah, if I've learned a word called maybe which is complicated, and we may not be using it in our day-to-day conversations, right? It
And
happens.
and the time when I actually need to use that word,
You
at
forget.
that time it is not in my mind. I just forget it.
Yeah, that happens. That's a very common, problem with a lot of learners who are trying to improve their vocabulary. But there is no magic fix to it. We have to be consciously using that word whenever possible, as and when possible. One trick is to keep making new sentences in your context. Don't make sentences which are not related to your context or related to your world. Don't make sentences like that. Try to see sentences which you can make in your day-to-day context. That is an easier way of retaining that word in your memory. But it takes some time. You have to consciously keep using that word. That's a challenge.
And what I have noticed is earlier I was very worried about that I am learning so many words, but I am not able to use them. But doing it consistently, like I read every day, sometimes I listen to the English content. The same word when I get to see again
Huh.
in any book or in any chapter article, then it is easy to remember because
Huh.
I have already read it, and the second time I'm reading it, then it somehow it gets fixed in my mind.
Yes, that is called reinforcement. Again, you are using that word, you're seeing that word. So it seems that when you learn a new word, you have to keep using it or seeing it or looking at it or using it almost 10 to 15 times. Then it becomes set in your mind. Then it becomes part of your active vocabulary. One or two times, if you see it or use it, it doesn't get
Yeah,
retained. That's a
yeah,
challenge.
we forget them easily if we do
Yes,
it only once and twice. But
correct.
I think consuming more and more English content helps.
Yes, yes. That is where reading, listening helps because you're exposing yourself to more content, and that is where more and more words, sentences, framing of sentences, phrases, all these you come across, right? Even as tutors, we are learning new words every day.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
there is no destination, everyone has to keep learning.
Yes, there is absolutely no destination or perfection. You can never say that, oh, I know it all. Not possible. And words are being added, new words are also being added to the English language vocabulary because things are changing, world is changing, some combination of new words, a younger generation comes up with some new terms. Selfie and all was never a word, right? But it's added, no, now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that is how the language is evolving. So let's do a quick activity, Rajni.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a sentence. Don't worry, don't get stressed. I'll give you a sentence. Okay. Try to the most commonly used words which we very commonly use are good and nice. Okay,
Hmm.
for everything we say, oh, the movie was good, the food was good, the party was nice, the place was nice. So I'm going to give you sentences. Try to frame it by replacing the word good with a nicer word, a relevantly better word.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to, should I type it in the chat box? How do you want it to be shared across to you? Should I
You
type
can
it?
just to speak. You can just speak. No, I think it will take
Can
more
I
time.
speak it?
You can
Okay,
just
huh.
speak and type it. Yeah.
Yeah, ठीक है. So Rahul had a good day at school. So replace good with whatever you think can be a better word.
Rahul had an excellent day at school.
Perfect. His teacher gave him a nice compliment.
His teacher gave him an amazing compliment.
Okay, okay, great. He felt good about his hard work.
He felt great about his hard work.
Okay, he felt great. He felt proud. हाँ, ठीक है. Super. You're going good. Okay. During lunch, he shared a nice meal with his friends.
During lunch, he shared a delicious meal with his friends.
Perfect. They had a nice conversation.
They had a thorough conversation.
Sorry, what is that?
They had a thorough conversation. They had an engaging conversation.
Engaging would be a better word over here. Thorough say better.
Or
Thorough is more detailed.
they had a heartfelt conversation.
Yes, excellent usage of the word. Yes. Then in the afternoon, he played a good game of football.
In the afternoon, he played a refreshing game of football.
Mm,
In the afternoon, he
okay.
played football, which energized him.
Okay, great. An energizing game of football, you can say, yes, which energized him is also great. Super. His teammates were nice and encouraged him.
His teammates were very supportive and they always encouraged him.
Good, good. Supportive. Yeah, okay. Yes. He enjoyed a nice walk back home.
Refreshing.
A peaceful and
Okay. Yeah.
kind
He
of,
had
when you,
quiet. He
huh,
had a quiet and peaceful walk
yes,
back home.
yes, exactly. The weather was good, and he listened to some nice music on his way back. The weather was good, and he listened to some nice music.
The weather was pleasant. He listened to the nice music.
What can we say instead of nice music?
Calming, calming
Yes, it
music.
can be calming, soothing, melodious.
Melodious, yes.
Soothing, calming is also not wrong, but I'm just giving you alternates instead of
Yes.
saying calming, soothing, melodious. All this can be used. Uh, when he reached home, his mother made him a good cup of coffee.
When he reached home, his mother made him a strong cup of coffee.
Huh, great. Strong or steaming hot cup of coffee. We also say na garma garam coffee.
Yeah,
So yeah,
steaming
great.
hot.
So good, strong coffee, steaming hot coffee, refreshing cup of coffee, whatever. So that his day, it was a nice way to end his day.
It was an amazing way to end his day.
Yes, amazing or perfect or beautiful way to end his day, all this. So, this activity is about trying to consciously use better words instead of the usual words which we generally use, because we keep using good, nice everywhere. So try and use context, because as per the context, you did a great job, by the way. Okay, because food, yes, delicious, scrumptious, relish, I relish the food. So these are things, instead of saying always good, nice, good, nice everywhere. No, that is how we try and train ourselves to use better words and contextually relevant words. So, what is contextually relevant? That according to that situation, what could be the relevant word to be used? Because nice and good are very generic words. Got it? So, that was the activity, right? And do you think that fluency, when we talk about fluency, is it always necessary that somebody who speaks very fast is fluent?
No, I don't think so. If even if the person is speaking slow, but the speech should be very clear, and he or she should be using the perfect or appropriate words as per context, and
Correct.
it's not always necessary to speak fast.
Fast, yeah. Some people have this wrong notion that, oh, he's so fluent means he or she is able to speak at great pace. No. So, good communication is not about pace, but like you said, clarity, pronunciation, pauses, because the impact of communication comes when you are very clear in your sentences, the right pauses, the right pitch, all that, not just speaking at great speed. Okay. So, those are some of the points. Any questions? Yeah, we are up on time.
My question. However, I don't have any special question, but I am only concerned about not about my speed, but sometimes like I think I take too many pauses, or sometimes I speak the sentence that is maybe wrong grammar structure I use sometimes, and then I immediately correct it. So this is my major concern, that the first go itself the sentence should be correct.
So you are on that phase. See, if you are self-correcting yourself, na Rajni, that means you have the realization that yes, something is wrong, and you also know the correct way of saying it. So it is
Yes.
just a matter of time that you will start to doing it in the correct way in the first instance itself. So a lot of times when we make errors, we are not aware, but you are now being aware, and you know that okay, I have to say it this way. So that's a step ahead, right? So it's just a matter of practice, and it will happen. Don't
Okay.
worry. Okay. As far as, I mean, if the communication is clear, everything is understandable, it is fine. So with Indians, we always have that little bit of mother tongue influence. North Indians, South Indians have different accent, right? But it's not very problematic as such. So that's it for today then. Okay, chalo. See you and have a good weekend.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Bye.